Good morning. In this lecture, I want to discuss sag in overhead lines. So, here we have to discuss first what is sag, okay, then calculation of sag. Then, when you are talking about the calculation of sag, we have to calculate the sag when supports are equal level, and then we have to calculate the sag when supported or supports are unequal levels, and when effect of wind or ice loading is there. So for that we have to calculate the sag in overhead lines. So come to the topic sag. So we can tell that what is sag. Okay, first we have to discuss about what is sag. So the difference in levels between points of supports and the lowest point on the conductor is called sag. Okay, so here we can tell that when the conductor is suspended between two supports at the same level, it takes the shape of catenary. However, if the sag is very small compared with the span, the sag span curve is like a parabola. Okay. So see the figure. Okay. So when the conductor is suspended between two supports at same level, okay, see the figure first. It takes the shape of a catenary. However, if the sag is very small compared with the span, then the sag span curve is like a parabola. Okay, but the tension at any point on the conductors acts tangentially. So thus tension which is T0 at the lowest point O acts horizontally. Okay, similarly the horizontal component, I am talking about the tension T0 at the lowest point O at horizontally according to the figure 2. Okay, so the horizontal components of tension is constant throughout the length of the wire. Okay, and the tensions at support is approximately equal to the horizontal tension acting at any point on the wire. Thus, if T is the tension, okay, at the support B, then T is equal to T0. Okay. Now I want to discuss about the sag calculation. Okay, so in our first point, okay, we have to talk about when supports are at equal level, we have to calculate the sag. See the diagram. Okay, see the diagram. Okay, the supports are at equal level. Okay, so here we can tell or we can consider a conductor between two equivalent supports. Okay, that is A and B, which is between A and B, and with O as the lowest point. See the figure. Okay, it can be provided to or it can be proved that the lowest point will be at the mid span. Okay, because these are at equal level. Now let L is the length of the span, and W is the weight per unit length of conductor. Okay, and T is the tension in the conductor. Now by considering a point P on the conductor, okay, see I have considered a point, see the diagram, I have considered a point P on the conductor which is taking the lowest point 0 as the origin, and let the coordinates, okay, let the coordinates of point P be x and y. Okay, assuming that the curvature is also so small that the curve length is equal to its horizontal projection, that is OP is equal to x, and the two forces acting on the portion of OP, okay, COP. Okay, so the portion of OP of the conductor R, or it may be the weight Wx of conductor acting at a distance x by 2 from O, and similarly the next one is the tension T acting at O. Okay, now equating the moment of the two forces about point O, we can write Ty as Wx into x by y. Again we can write y as Wx square by 2t. So the maximum dip is represented by the value of y at either of the supports A and B. So at support A, that is x is equal to L by 2 and y is S. Okay, so I can write sag, which is denoted by S is equal to W into L by 2 square by 2t, which is WL square by 8t. So this is the sag calculation for supports when the supports are at equal levels. Okay, now we have to calculate the sag when the supports are unequal level. Okay, so see the diagram. Okay, in hilly areas normally we generally comes across conductors suspended between supports are unequal levels. See the figure shows a conductor suspended between two supports A and B, which are at different levels. The lowest point on the conductor is O. Now let us consider that L is the span length, and H is the difference in level between two supports, and x1 is the distance of supports at lower level, that is A from O, and x2 is the distance of support at higher level, that is B from O. Now T is the tension in the conductor. So now we can tell that if W is the weight per unit length of the conductor, then we can write that sag S1 will be Wx square by 2t, and sag S2 will be Wx2 square by 2t. Okay, that means S1 will be Wx1 square by 2t, and sag S2 will be Wx2 square by 2t. Also we can write XL plus x1 plus x2 is equal to L. Okay, so now we can write write that S2 minus S1 as W by 2t whole into x2 square minus x1 square. So we can write W by 2t whole into x2 plus x1 into x2 minus x1. So I can write S2 minus S1 as WL by 2t whole into x2 minus x1. Okay, then as we know that x1 plus x2 as L, so for x2 plus x1 we have taken as L. Okay, so for that we are writing S2 minus S1 as WL by 2t whole into x2 minus x1, but we know that S2 minus S1 is H. Okay, so when we are deriving H will be WL by 2t whole into x2 minus x1. So x2 minus x1 will be 2th by WL. So by solving equation 1 and 2, okay, we can get that is x1 is equal to L by 2 th by WL, and x2 is L by 2 in plus th by WL. Okay, that means x1 is L by 2 minus th by WL, and x2 is L by 2 plus th by WL. When x1, x2 values S1 and S2 can be easily calculated from this. Okay. Now come to calculate the sag when effects of wind and ice loading. Okay. So from the sag the formula for sag are true only in the as per the previous discussion. The formula for sag are true only in still air and at normal temperature when the sag conductor is acted by its weight only. But when in actual practice we have to consider that conductor may have ice containing or ice coating, and when it is snowfall area it may be of ice coating and simultaneously subject to wind pressure also. For that the weight of ice acts vertically downward. Okay, and for that in the same direction as the weight of the conductor it will be vertically downward. Therefore due to the wind is assumed to act horizontally, at right angle to the projected surface of the conductor. Hence, the total force on the conductor is the vector sum of horizontal and vertical forces. Okay, see the figure as per the figure. Okay, as shown in the figure. Okay, so the vector sum of the horizontal and vertical forces will be the total weight of the conductor per unit. First we have to now find out the total weight of the conductor per unit length, that is according to the figure. Okay, so we can write Wt is equal to whole root over of W plus W L whole square plus the W square. So here W is equal to weight of the conductor per unit length, that is conductor material density into volume per unit length, and WL is weight of ice, that is not WL, that is Wi. Okay, so Wi is the weight of ice per unit length, which is the density of ice into volume of ice per unit length, which is equal to density of ice into pi by 4 into d plus 2t whole square minus d square into 1, that is density of ice into pi t whole into d plus t. Okay, then W is the wind force per unit length, which is wind pressure per unit area into projected area per unit length, which is wind pressure into d plus 2t whole into 1. Okay, so that means the overall the weight of conductor per unit length, which is Wt is equal to W plus Wi whole square plus W square. So I can write, okay, when the conductor has wind and ice loading also, then the following potential may be noted. Okay, so as per the following potential, the conductor set itself in a plane at an angle theta to the vertical, where tan theta is equal to W by W plus Wi, and the sag in the conductor is given by S is equal to Wt L square by 2t. Here S represents the slant sag in the direction making an angle theta to the vertical, and if no specific mention is made in the problem, then the slant slag is calculated by using the above formula only. Okay, and the vertical sag will be, obviously that will be, the vertical sag will be S cos theta. Okay, so this finishes the sag calculation. Thank you very much.